Gintama is boring. That is a statement that's become very prevalent, very, widespread in the community. And I'm going to give it my side of it from once upon a time, now being one of the biggest Gintama fans. It's top 2 of all time for me. I want to give some perspective on those who might come across this video who've never seen it, and then people who have seen Gintama can share this video possibly with them, and just give my own perspective on someone who once thought Gintama was boring and how I feel about it now. So let's just jump into that. So for quite a while, as I was, consuming all the media possible, I think we've all had those years of just trying to watch anything and everything and anything you love, everything you watch, you touch, you're just in love with it, and you just keep going along with it. There was always this series that always had a controversial take on it, which was Gintama. And I'd always hear, especially when during this was like the peak of my One Piece days, a lot of my One Piece friends would tell me about a series called Gintama. Shout out to Yoshi to Show You on Twitter, aka King Recon on YouTube. That is one of my boys. He's one of the first people that was preaching the name of Gintama greatness. But the reason why I'm giving you this backstory is because I need to set this up to give you an idea how things went down for me. So around 2017, 2018, I decided to give the show finally a shot. Originally, I decided maybe I'd do it with a couple of YouTube friends. We watched the first few episodes. We had our laughs here and there. And then I realized quickly that, what if it seems like this was just a comedy. This was my initial thing, and I was like, maybe it does pick up a lot later, but this is something it just isn't for me. So I fell off of it, didn't really continue on it. And then a friend of mine, whose name is Professor Anime, or also known as Maruzu Kage now, who kept on continuing to watch his Gintama, and I've seen him just absolutely fall in love with the series. Years went by. I always heard things, my friends constantly telling me to give Gintama another chance. I even made it to the point where I was like 50 episodes in. I really enjoyed Benny Zakura, but then I went back to the comedy, and then I kept going, and then I got to Shinsugumi Crisis. Absolutely loved Shinsugumi Crisis, and then I still wasn't hooked. And then you would think naturally, most people would be like, yo, you gave the series 100 episodes and you're not hooked. You've given it enough of a chance, and it just isn't for you. And traditionally, the answer usually would be yes, you're not wrong. And again, if you decide to give Gintama even like 100 or even 50 episodes, or whatever how many episodes you decide to give it, you're 100% inclined to your opinion that it isn't for you. But I'm just about to share my perspective, why I think when it comes to Gintama, that isn't necessarily true. So I'll start with this much, and a lot of people are not going to want to hear this, but Gintama fans really need to hear me out. I truly believe, at first, I'm not talking about that this is not what I think now. At first, I truly did believe, besides Benny Zakura and Shinsugumi Crisis, I was quite bored with Gintama. There was obviously certain moments I quite enjoyed. Like, don't get it twisted, I'm not saying everything was boring, but a majority of it, I was bored. And what it comes down to is we've been like, we've become accustomed to how traditional media, how even like the typical shonen, right? And this is not to take away anything, like even Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, the recent ones, One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, it's very traditional. It handles its story progression and its comedy and anything else that it has, world building, all of it. It does it all simultaneously. But Gintama does it in a very, very different and very non-typical way that majority of series do. And this is what ends up hurting the series, is people are not accustomed to the way Gintama does it. But I think that's what makes Gintama so unique and special. So when you get into Gintama, all you feel like is it's comedy, and that's all it is, and that's all it's gonna be accustomed to. You don't understand why people praise it as much as they do. But what it comes down to is, as you're like vicariously just watching these characters fool around with each other, joke around with each other, have these moments where just they're living their life, you're slowly building a connection that you don't even realize that you're building. And the moments you realize that you're building this connection is when the serious arcs hit. And the thing that what makes it, in my opinion, and this is where the praise comes from, and why people in the Gintama community so passionately love Gintama, is because since they spent, out of majority of series, the amount of time they spent with these characters, fooling around, goofing off, getting to know these characters, their personalities, spending time with them. So when serious things happen, when gut-wrenching things, their backstories, right, the moments in the story that push the story forward happen, they hit that much harder than series like Naruto, Bleach, or One Piece. Not to take anything away from them, they're 100% in their own right, have their emotional moments. But in my opinion, when it comes to shonen, no shonen from an emotional standpoint, it's like Gintama. Now, for those of you who are into like the battle shonen stuff, right? Like you're here for the fights, you're here for the emotional moment and then fight. You're here for like, that's not what Gintama is about. And if you're a true, like that's all you're looking for is a battle shonen, you're not gonna get that from Gintama. I'm gonna tell you that right now. So now let's kind of get into like, as someone who really wants to give Gintama a chance, but they need someone to sell them on and really give them the motivation to get into it. And what I would tell you personally from my experience, from someone, and I'm telling you this, I'm being dead ass. For me to fall, it took me 250 episodes to fall in love with the series. Now that's not gonna be for everybody, because I've been in the community for almost nearly 2 years now. I've asked around a lot of people. Everybody has different moments they fall in love with. It could be 50, it could be 100, it could be 120, 130, 40, 50, 60, 200. For me personally, it was 250 episodes, and I could tell you, even for someone who's 250 episodes deep, it became my favorite shonen of all time. So now I have to explain to you, okay, Zypher, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's say it takes me a very, very, very long time to fall in love with the series. Why should I still give it a chance? And when I was telling you earlier, if you really want a series where you can be emotionally involved in these characters and really, really give a shit about them and what happens to them, the final arcs of Gintama, in my opinion, are some of the best shit in shonen. If you truly enjoy the shonen genre and everything it has to offer, the emotional characters, the fun, the care, the aspect of just that, how do you say, the camaraderie, the friendship. If you love friendship, this is like taking friendship, not in the cliche way, and I don't mean to take shots, but let's be honest, Fairy Tail and Eden Zero, they do it in a very generic and very cliche way that you're like, this seems like I've consumed this 100 times over. Gintama takes that level of like you caring about these characters and how they feel about each other, their quote unquote friendship, but it does it at the highest level of writing that a series of Shonen Jump of caliber can do. I also don't want to neglect the fact that obviously not everything is gonna be for everyone. No matter what, there's definitely someone who might watch this video, listen to what I say, watch Gintama all the way and say, Zypher, you wasted my time, right? But I still truly believe to the bottom of my heart, to my core, that would be a minority. So if you've been someone who's been really hesitating on Gintama, I promise you, Gintama is going to reward those who are patient and stick through the series. I'm telling you, it is well worth it. If you value my opinion at all, you might come across a video and be like, Zypher, this is my first time, whatever the case is, I don't give a shit. But regardless, if you want to give my opinion a shot, it's gonna be it's a big time commitment. I'm asking a big time commitment out of you. If you want to give Gintama a true shot, it is not a series that's gonna say 3 episodes. It's a 10 episode series. It's not a 15. It's not a 50 episode series. Gintama could hook you at any moment, but it is a series that can, once it grabs you, it's game over. It has you by the balls. Like that shit has you invested to the very end once it grabs you. But for a word of advice, if I were to tell you how you should go about it, personally to me, if you can get your friends involved and watch it with some friends, that is the best way to do it. Personally, the way I was able to enjoy Gintama the most, especially during the comedy moments, the way I did it was when I knew there was a long stretch of comedy and it's going to be a while before the story progression happens. What I did is I used my Twitter following, and now I know everybody's not going to have this option, but I'm sure majority of you have some friends that you could potentially convince. What I did is I tweeted out my Discord and I said, hey, I'm watching Gintama. If anybody wants to join me on this journey, feel free to do so. And I screen shared Gintama and everybody watched along with me. And I personally was lucky enough that I had a great community behind me, and I had 15 to 20 people watching along, and we cracking jokes about the series, laughing along the way. And then it's up to you completely where you want to take it from there. If you want the serious arcs you want to watch on your own, or if you want to watch it with your friends and continue to do that. I personally watched the serious arcs on my own because obviously I run a YouTube channel and I thought it was worth making videos on. And again, if you do end up going the route where you watch the serious arcs, I have a whole catalog of reactions of the Gintama stuff all the way to the very end, to the movies, that you can go through, watch along with my journey, and see how I felt about each arc personally. The one thing and last thing I want to touch upon is because I mentioned that I did believe once upon a time Gintama was boring, and why that changed my mind is because there's certain moments that happen in the second half of Gintama that uses those quote-unquote useless comedy boring moments and recontextualizes them and actually has them hold weight. So what you're going to be watching initially in the first half is going to be probably pointless shit to you that you're going to be like, I don't care about this. But trust me when I say this, if you stick through the end and get to the second half of Gintama, the stuff that didn't matter to you in the first half will hold more weight than you could ever imagine. To give you an idea, the first few episodes, you probably felt nothing, right? I revisited the first couple episodes after watching all of Gintama, and I was in tears watching the first couple episodes. If you're someone that tends to get emotional, trust me, Gintama is worth your time. If you are a battle shonen tard, you will not enjoy this series. This is not for your power system, power scalers. This is for someone who wants characters to be invested in. With that being said, I'll catch you guys later. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out.